So I'm Rabbi Lerner, the editor of Tikkun magazine and the chair of the Interfaith Network of Spiritual Progressives. And I'm here to bring greetings from the Jews of the East Bay and to tell you that we will not let Muslims stand alone. We will not let this happen. We have the memory of the Holocaust still in our mind and our awareness of, and we can smell fascism when it's arising, and it is beginning to arise in this country, and it scares us, but it also requires us to struggle against it. To struggle against it means to first of all figure out an analysis of why it's happening, and secondly to develop a strategy. The analysis in part has to recognize, start from this, that people who join those movements are not in their core being evil people. There are a percentage of people in this country who are racist, sexist, homophobic, etc. But there are a lot of other people who are scared and who feel desperate and alone. They feel that in part because of the daily dynamics of the capitalist economic system, in which people are set against each other in competition, and many, many people don't make it. There are a small percentage of those who do make it, another 20% perhaps of the population who are being comfortable, and a lot of other people who feel self-blaming and bad about themselves because they haven't been, quote, successful in this society. Many people feel very alone, not only because of the economic situation, but because of the values of of the marketplace that teach us, look out for number one, maximize your own advantage without regard to the consequences of others. And they come home and they find themselves surrounded by what they perceive to be selfish people. That feeling of being alone and surrounded by selfish people makes people desperate for some form of community and some form of connection. And that is a legitimate desire, a significant real need that people have that needs to be addressed. It's being addressed at fascistic movements in disgusting ways. But we have to find alternative ways to address the hunger that people have for a different kind of world, for a world in which every human being feels recognized, seen as valuable, treated as an important human being. How to do this is more than I'm going to be able to talk in whatever I have 60 seconds left. So I want to say that we have in the network of spiritual progressives developed an approach that, amongst other things, says we need to popularize in this society a new bottom line, as opposed to the bottom line that governs the economic marketplace that says things are valuable to the extent that they maximize money and power, and you're important so far as you are able yourself to maximize money and power. We need a new bottom line, and that new bottom line should say that every institution in this society, every corporation, every government policy, our economic system, our educational system, our legal system should be judged efficient, rational, and productive to the extent that they maximize love and caring, kindness and generosity, ethical and environmental sensitivity, enhance our capacity to respond to other human beings as embodiments of the sacred, and enhance our capacity to respond to the universe, the earth around us, not as something that we can turn into a commodity and sell and make some money off of, but as something that is inherently valuable, that invokes from us awe, wonder, and radical amazement to the grandeur of all creation. So that new bottom line has to be part of the way that we articulate an alternative value set to the value set that leads so many people to feel alone, not valued, not really cared for. This is a general direction for a strategy that we need to have. It's not enough to say we're a standing solidarity. We need a serious strategy for how to transform the social order. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Hello, my name is Sheldon. I am the president of a new chapter of the United Nations Association, the Silicon Valley United Nations Association. I am pleased to be invited by my friend Samina to speak tonight to add my voice to the many who abhor the hateful speech and acts that have been perpetuated against our Muslim community and people of Middle Eastern descent as well as South Asians. Samina has been my, I met Samina when I joined the Santa Clara County Human Relations Commission. She was a longtime commissioner. And this scarf is part of her many generous programs that she has sponsored over the years to promote peace and justice and to actually educate all of us on the Muslim among us. So not only is she my friend, I just adore Samina. I wanted to say a little bit about the United Nations Association. We are Americans who support the work of the United Nations, which was founded in 1945, shortly after World War II. The purpose was to end the scourge of war and to promote peace and goodwill among all nations and all peoples. These high-minded goals have expanded over the years to include human rights, refugee relief, hunger, health, climate agreements, and sustainability goals that benefit and reach out to the most fragile among the nations as well as peoples. The United Nations has played a prominent role in the refugee crisis. This is a global humanitarian crisis, and we are probably going to have some programs in around June, which is World Refugee Day, that highlights some of the issues around refugees. As a Chinese American, I know my name is Kinosha. My husband is Japanese Canadian, and I'm Chinese Hawaiian. And I am very proud that our president is also from Hawaii. Hawaii. That's the proper pronunciation. So, if anybody is if there's a male version of Samina, he is the it. He is just the most charming person that it's hard to say no to him, and he has accomplished many things that we consider impossible in our lifetime. I was going to say, as a Chinese American, my father came in 1923 when the Chinese exclusionary laws in the United States were in effect. He could not be a citizen. It was very hard to obtain work. He had to pay a head tax in order to be employed. There were many discriminatory things going on against people according to their race, according to the color of their skin, and also of their religion. So this is not new to a Chinese person. So in order for us to live in harmony together, we need to give everybody the opportunity as Americans. In 2001, shortly after the 9/11, I was out there with my WILF, Women's International League Peace and Freedom. There they are, my friends Essie and Lois. We were out there protesting the registration of Muslim men. Shortly after that, that was clearly a discriminatory and unjustified procedure in the government. Since then, I have gone to almost every day of remembrance in the San Jose Japanese community. Every single day of remembrance in February supports the Muslim community with speakers. The first one in 2002, in January in San Jose, we had a candlelight service where we walked from the Japanese the Japanese Temple Community Center to the mosque in San Jose in support and solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cynthia. Welcome, Reverend Ben Daniel.
Thank you. It is an honor to be here. Thank you for coming out. Thanks for having me. My name is Ben Daniel. I'm the pastor of Montclair Presbyterian Church in Oakland. And I want to commend to you the virtue of curiosity. We all know about the hate, the intolerance, the Islamophobia, and other kinds of intolerance against gays and lesbians, against immigrants that is permeating our society right now. And I believe that the way to fight it, the way to fight hate, is not just with love, but also with curiosity. So that, for example, if we hear someone say that Muslims are inherently violent, we should be curious. We should say, I wonder if that's true. And then have the curiosity to find out if it's true. If we hear someone say that Islam is a religion in which women face undue hardship, we should ask, I wonder if that's true. And then have the curiosity to find out. And while we're at it, as we look at other religions with curiosity, saying, I wonder if it's true, we should look at our own religions. And when we hear voices from within our own faith communities that are hateful, we should say, I wonder if that's faithful to my tradition. And then we should have the curiosity to discover if it's true. And we should have the curiosity to say, I wonder if in my religion there is a word of hope. I wonder if in my tradition there is a word of peace. I wonder if there's a word of joy. And having wondered, we should have the curiosity to discover those things and live those things. So, dearly beloved, as you ask, I wonder, I pray that the God of all wonder will fill your lives with wonder, and that wonder will lead you to joy and peace. God hear you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Hola. I'm Lange-Soto. I'm the pastor of the Buen Pastor Episcopal Church in Redwood City. And I bring greetings from everyone from the Buen Pastor. We were speaking this morning after the service about how ironic it is that there are forces in this country who want to kick all of us out and to not let a lot of us in. So there's solidarity, I think, in that dynamic. As I was reflecting on this meeting, I read a reflection by Bishop Stephen Charleston, an Episcopal bishop who is currently retired, but who is very dear to my heart. And I would like to read you his reflection. Rise up, brothers and sisters, the good human family from every land and language. Rise up and take heart, for the time of our full freedom draws nearer each day. Rise up and speak up. Let the world know that we will not be silenced by fear or cowed by threats, but will forever be united in our common resolve of peace for those who suffer, justice for the innocent, food for the hungry, healing for the sick. Rise up, women and men. Rise up from every race and religion and join hands for the sake of our children, for the love we share and the hope that is ours. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Anna. Next up, we have Rabbi Sheldon Lewis.
My name is Sheldon Lewis. I'm from Palo Alto. It is a mystery to me. This is the mystery. When we think of the natural world in which we live, we treasure diversity doing that. We celebrate diversity. We are ready to go to the mat to preserve even the most modest plant or animal that is threatened. If virtually any member of the plant or animal kingdom is endangered, we are ready to mobilize and to act vigorously. Diversity in nature is precious to us. In its richness, so very much is added to our lives. Just knowing that we share this planet with an uncounted array of plants and animals is comforting. They appear before us in virtually every conceivable form. Their forms, their fragrance, their sounds, their habits truly enrich our lives. And we are endlessly curious about them. Each one is a precious gift. So why then, when we move to the diversity among us, our faiths, our skin colors, our cultural forms, our accents, our homelands, do we often lose that appreciation? For the magnificent manifestations of diversity. We are, after all, a part of nature itself, are we not? How wondrous it would be if we could learn to appreciate the virtually unlimited forms of being human. How special it would be if we could transfer our curiosity, thank you, Ben, about nature to the sphere of being human. How much we could be enriched, how much we could learn from each other. In the 16th century, Rabbi Judah Loew of Prague, a famous Jewish mystic and commentator, wrote about human conflict in its context of nature. These are his words. They, that is diversity, are from the mouth of the master of all deeds. The meaning is that just as the multiplicity of creatures are from God, may God be blessed, just as all creatures are separate and some are even complete opposites, nonetheless, all are from the name, may God be blessed, who is one, and in all of them there is a dimension of truth. Just as we say that God enacts truth, and God's work is truth, for in its own way, water is truth in the way of its creation, and fire also, which is opposite in the character of its creation, is also truth. Likewise, the multiplicity of views in themselves are all from God, may God be blessed. And even if they are contradictory, nonetheless, they all share a dimension of truth. We should be celebrating each other, eager to learn from each other. We should certainly be supporting each other when bias and bigotry raise their ugly heads. The Jewish community, I promise you, stands firmly behind not only tolerance, which I know is a irritating word to Samina, but appreciation and celebration of the diversity which adds such a treasure to the life of our community.
Thank you very much, Orlando. Next up, we have Ms. Teresa Castellanos.
I'm walking carefully. First of all, my name is Teresa Castellanos. I have been blessed to work in the immigrant rights movement for the last 25 years. I am the daughter of a canning worker. My first language was Spanish. I didn't learn how to read and write until 5th grade. And I am a 4th generation U.S. citizen. So that is the reality that we have in this nation. We were from Arizona before it was Arizona. In the 25 years that I've been able to work with the immigrant community, I've learned 3 lessons. One is we are more alike than different. We live in the same place. We work in the same places. We want the same things for our children. And we want to be safe. We are more alike than we are different. The second thing that I have learned is that fear is contagious, but so is courage. Courage is also contagious. And it's very important that in these moments when fear and anger are being pushed, that we come together and share in the courage that we have, because we know we are one community. Sorry about that. So I have a poem that I want to share with you. It is from the San Felipe Pueblo Native Americans. The poet is Michael D. Virtue. Community. The Creator takes a pebble, binds it to another, and then another, and another. In this manner, a rock is formed, and then a mountain, and then the world. The Creator takes one feather, binds it with another, and then another, and another. In this manner, a wing is formed, and then a body, and then an eagle. In this way, all things are formed, small joined with small, to make a greater, and then a greater, and then a greater, to make a whole, where before not existed. In this manner, we build from one person, working with another, and yet another, in order where before was human chaos. We work together toward a common goal, joining hands, one with another, and then another. In this manner, a couple is formed, and then a group, and then a community. We must not fear to depend on one another. Be strong enough to let others depend on us. Together we can soar like a mighty eagle. Apart we drift in chaos like feathers tossed in the raging wind. Such is the way that we must be. It is good. The other thing that I want to leave with you is, because I am an organizer, I've been a community organizer for a very long time, is with a Cesar Chavez quote. Once social change begins, it cannot be reversed. You cannot uneducate the person who has learned to read. You cannot humiliate the person who feels pride. You cannot oppress the people who are not afraid anymore. And so that is Cesar Chavez. And my closing lesson to you is, and this is a lesson that the immigrant community has taught me, but also that my children have taught me. In many ways, I've identified as a Chicana, as a Latina, as a Spanish speaker, even though I'm a fourth-generation American. My daughter and the immigrant community have taught me that we are Americans. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Castellanos. Reverend Kelle.
It's that last step that's a doozy. Have we worn you out yet?
No.
Good. I'm Andrew Kelle. I am the chair of Civic, the Silicon Valley Interreligious Council in Santa Clara County. Last fall, fear and bigotry came to center stage in our nation. Prominent voices calling for suspicion and prejudice against Muslims led to rallies and demonstrations across the country in which armed demonstrators gathered at mosques and Muslim communities, seeking to intimidate and harass their Muslim neighbors. We come together today, not with arms, but with hands. We come not with arms, but with open hands outstretched to our brothers and sisters in the Muslim community. We come with hands outstretched to all our neighbors, of all races, of all religious traditions and no religious tradition, of all ages and genders and social conditions. We come today not with arms, but with hands that are prepared to join in building a more just and compassionate society for all. In his State of the Union address in January, President Obama reminded us all of the words of Pope Francis. To imitate the hatred and violence of tyrants and murderers is the best way to take their place. Obama then went on to say, when politicians insult Muslims, whether abroad or our fellow citizens, when a mosque is vandalized or a kid is called names, that doesn't make us safer. That's not telling it like it is. It's just wrong. It diminishes us in the eyes of the world. It makes it harder to achieve our goals. It betrays who we are as a country. We, the people. Our Constitution begins with those three simple words. Words we've come to recognize as all the people, not just some. Words that insist we rise and fall together. And that is how we may perfect our union. We are still months away from the national election. And there's no reason to anticipate that the rhetoric of suspicion and fear will go away anytime soon. In the meantime, we commit ourselves to upholding human rights and freedoms of all the members of our society. We commit to continuing to reach out to those of differing religious traditions and of no tradition. Our coming together is not something new, but an overwhelming and emphatic affirmation of who we are as a people. There's a plaque that is displayed on the northwest corner of the Tower Hall in the center of San Jose State University. And on it are the words of a poem by Edward Markham. The title of the poem is Outwitted. He drew a circle that shut me out. Heretic, rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in. We join hands together, pledging to stand together with respect and compassion, ready to outwit those who would seek to shut out our brothers and sisters in an ever-widening circle of friendship and love. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Kelle. Next, we have Reverend Eileen Altman. Thank you.
Hello, I am Eileen Altman. I am the Associate Pastor of First Congregational Church of Palo Alto, United Church of Christ. And I'm proud to be here this evening to represent the more than 700 members of my congregation and the Church of Jesus Christ. A meme came across my desk this week from a wonderful Christian media project called the SALT Project. And it said, how to respect other religions. And it was very simple, 3 steps. Eat together, pray together, hold each other's babies. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing right now. We've prayed together already. We're going to eat together in a little while. And we're also holding each other's babies. Even if we're not physically picking up each other's babies, what we're doing is providing a model for the next generation of what it means to come together, support each other, hold each other, care for each other in peace. And so we are, in effect, holding each other's babies by being here today. It's very simple. It's following in the way of my teacher, Jesus. Pray together, eat together, love each other's babies. Let's keep living this message. Go in peace.
Thank you, Reverend. Next, we have Reverend John Oda.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is John Oda. I'm a pastor of Lake Park United Methodist Church. And wow, there's a lot of speakers up here. Last time I was on a list this long, I was the 15th speaker. And after each speaker, people started pulling away until I got up there, and there was only one person left. And I said, well, thank you for staying to hear what I have to say. And he said, hurry it up, I'm the 16th speaker. All right, so I have a minute left. I am here because of my parents. As Reverend Michael Yost just said, I'm of Japanese American heritage, and during World War II, 120,000 Japanese Americans were thrown into concentration camps. All my aunts and uncles, all my parents, both my parents, my grandparents, just because they were of Japanese American heritage, just because they looked like the enemy. And one of the most painful things that my mom would say about that time was, as a 7-year-old, she was all of a sudden completely isolated. She was the enemy because she looked like the enemy. I think one of the most important things that I've been hearing today is to stand in solidarity. I am committing myself to stand in solidarity with the mosques around the world, with the Muslim community. After 9/11 in San Francisco, I started to hear about the people, my friends, being detained and really disappeared for weeks at a time from the Muslim community, from the Islamic Society of San Francisco. And I was talking to some of my older Japanese American people in my church, and they said, oh yeah, that happened after Pearl Harbor. And what is happening now, I think, is really similar to what happened in too. As Michael Yoshi said, we need to learn from that lesson. And I want to thank Samina for inviting me here and to break bread together and to remind us that we are all one community. So thank you.